Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today I'm going to do a review on Castle Itter, the strangest battle of World War II. This is a solitaire game designed by David Thompson and published by Dan Versen Games. I'm actually in the middle of another game, so kind of early on in the game before it starts getting really wonky. So I wanted to pause and do a review. I've played this game several times and with usually not good results, which is what's so fun about this game to me. But I wanted to kind of stop right here so you can kind of get a little time capsule of what's going on here in this situation and give you a review of the game itself. This game started out initially as a print and play and now is got the full produced treatment from DVG. Beautifully done game. If you've seen the unboxing, you know what all the components are. You also have a basic overview of the game. But for those who've not seen the unboxing, look at those nice thick counters. Beautifully done. And it has all the information that you need. There's not a lot of information to be had to follow for this game. This is a pretty straightforward, simple game. However, even being simple, there's a lot of layers and nuance to it. David has a really unique knack of finding these odd, weird pieces of history. Not only finding them, but in his mind being able to gamify them, which is pretty fantastic because we get to enjoy those games that he comes up with. If you played Pavlov's House, you're going to know exactly what you're looking at here. Those who've not played Pavlov's House, go get it. It is a fantastic game. Pavlov's House is a well-known piece of history in the Battle of Stalingrad. In that game, which this looks very familiar for those who've played that game, you have the tactical as well as strategic and operational aspects to the game, macro to micro. This game just deals with the micro. You're down at the tactical level the entire game. So anybody who's played Pavlov's House, you're going to make the easy transition to this game without breaking a sweat at all. You're going to understand exactly where you're at. But let's rewind a second and see why this is called Castle Itter, the strangest battle of World War II. You've got an ad hoc force of US forces, German Wehrmacht forces, and even French POWs, all together fighting to hold off an SS Panzer Grenadier assault on Castle Itter. When do you ever think you'd ever see something like that except for in the movies? Well, guess what? It really did happen, and that's what this game is all about. You're going to look right away and say this has kind of a States of Siege feel to it, and it does. It has that similar kind of vibe, but the difference is you have full autonomy over how you respond to the threat. All right, so quick game overview of how this works. I know it's a bit of a mess right now because I've got counters everywhere. Like I said, I stopped it mid-game here to give this review. But at the beginning of the game, you're going to have units on all of these 12 outside markers. You're going to start with a German rifleman there, and you're going to start out with no units on the board. You're going to have 20 on the side. You're going to put them out 5 at a time. Once you put the 5 units out, you can do an action. The placing is a free one, and then you can do an action. Generally what you're going to want to do is either take out units or suppress, which is what I tend to do right away, is suppress. Maybe take the odd unit out, but definitely going to throw a lot of suppression right away. After you do that, you're going to draw 3 cards from your deck. There are actually 4 decks that make up one deck. There's 1 through 4. It gets increasingly more difficult, and that is a very good reflection of the historical situation here. You start with, I think it's 04 in the morning and it goes all the way 1600. And what happens is that, you know, that 04, that early time frame, historically there was like a recon force that was coming out and they were probing the defenses of the castle to see where the weak spots were. So they were, you know, they were a strong force, but not super strong. The main element of the Panzer Grenadiers, the SS Panzer Grenadiers, moved up throughout the day, and that's when the pressure got increasingly higher and higher as the stronger forces moved in, and that is reflected by the deck getting tougher and tougher as you go on. Once you get all 20 of your base units out, then you can start bringing out these French prisoners which are down in the cellar. And the big key that I'm going for right now is Barotra, like I had mentioned before. And what you're trying to do is get the 142nd Infantry Regiment to show up. And how you do that in this game is he has the escape capability. Once there's a track is free, he has an action, boom, he gets off the map. And depending on when he is able to get off the map, whether it's in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th decks, there are actually 4 decks of cards in the game, all making one deck. If you get them out, which I'm trying to do by the 2nd deck, you can take the 142nd card and you can put it into the bottom 9 cards of the deck. So the faster I can get him out there, the better off my chances are of getting that card earlier in the deck than if I wait later, because then you're going to go down to the last couple cards. I think last 4 or 5 cards of the deck, if I remember correctly. I think it's 4 that you'll shuffle that card into. So that really puts that many more turns on you. If you get them out early, you can potentially end the game 5 turns faster. And each turn gets tougher and tougher, so every turn counts if you can make the game end sooner. Each of these areas has a defense marker here. You can see the keep's like 654, South Terrace 654. It starts off at 6, and the only thing that so far I've taken any damage to is the North Terrace. It's down from 6 to 5. Once you go down to 4, that's when you start taking casualties. So you want to make sure that you don't. You want to try to hold off from losing any defense value there, but you can't control it. There's going to be packs and 88s that are going to take shots at you, and just on the luck of the die roll, it's where they're going to shoot. Basad and Jenny can get damaged, can be destroyed, and when it is, you can lose guys inside. So you want to make sure that once that gets down, and once you get down to like 4, you got to get the heck out of Dodge, or you're going to run the risk of losing those guys. But again, you have to weigh that risk versus keeping guys that can stay in the fight. Well, you know what? That has greater firepower, so I got to risk it one more time, and I'm going to take casualties, which more likely you're going to stand your ground and utilize that stronger firepower. So that's basically how that works. And like I said, it has a state of siege feel to a degree, to a great degree. But one of the better things about this is the amount of agency that you have as the gamer that sets it apart from your standard state of siege game. I've not had a lot of success with this game, but I keep coming back to it because it's a very compelling game. This is an elegant design. It's very simple, very straightforward, but the time crunch and the pressure keeps you coming back for more to try to manage the situation, which is what you're doing here. You're managing the situation, managing your troops, managing where you put your fire and what type of fire it is, whether it's attacking or suppression fire. And in this instance, you can see the suppression that I've got out here using all these different troops because I'm trying to keep guys from getting on the board. And it's not working that well over here. But also, if you notice, the pressure is all on from track 8. 7 through 10 are, in my opinion, the tracks you need to pay the most attention to. And that's why the Basad and Jenny and the Gatehouse have the heaviest firepower there. So you can put heavier suppression on those locations because they're going to see the most stress when it comes to the pressure coming up to the castle. You roll 2d6 to see where a potential enemy force will come on. You pull a card, and like, for example, here I've got a rifleman. If you roll a 2d6 and you'll see where this card goes, or where this unit potentially will go, my luck, it'll be an 8 or a 9 or a 10, possibly a 7 like I've got over there with the machine gunner and the infantry. You'll then put that on the board. You have the option, if you've got suppression out there already, to take that many suppression tokens off, roll your d6, that many d6, 1, 2, 3, whatever, to try to suppress the enemy, stop them from coming on the board, which is what I was doing initially at first, and it was working really good until I ran out of suppression, and then these guys started punching a hole up the gut, and now they're almost up to the Great Hall, and I'm almost going to lose again. But hey, that's fine, because I've got a couple things I'm going to try to do. I try different things each time, and that's, like I said, the fun part is you're managing your troops. Everybody's got a set of firepower and suppression numbers. 1-to-1 is generally the standard. You've got 1-2s, you've got a 2-3 for the Americans with Pollock. You've also got these tankers over here. Now these guys are separate because, or a little bit different because, yeah, they have a 1-2, but the big key for them is they can use the tank weapons. They can use also the machine guns here. You have an M1919A4, and that will attack at 2 or it will suppress at 3. Like I said, I throw a lot of suppression markers out there, and the same for over here. You got a couple machine guns. You've got the Mod Deuce, and you've got another M1919, and you can throw 7 suppression tokens out there, and then you also have another 6 for the 76mm cannon. So that's a lot of suppression, and there's a reason why, as you can see, because all the pressure comes from that area. And you'll burn through those suppression tokens quite a bit, and that's where the choice is up to you. Going back to what I said before about it feeling like a state of siege game, a lot of state of siege games have that engine where it just keeps coming at you and all you're doing is you're just trying not to die. This is similar, but there's a lot more agency here, a lot more decision space for you as the gamer, and that makes it a more engaging game. And when you make your choices, you're not only making your choices for where to put the guys that can give you the most firepower. Not everybody's got a lot of firepower, but you're looking at how one unit can affect another. You have like this German infantryman here. He's got an M on him. That M means he's got low morale. So if one of his compadres in that area is a casualty, he's a casualty too. He's just going to be like, man, I'm done. Game over, man. And the way to counter that is you take an officer. You have Huckle here. He's an officer. He can say, no, calm down. You're going to be good. We're going to get through this. And he can stop him from being a casualty. So instead of losing 2, potentially more, you only lose the one guy that is the direct casualty. So you're managing things like that. Then you have the command option, the commander option, where you can take that one commander in an area like over here in the North Terrace. These guys were all exhausted. If which is what I just did with him a turn ago, he came in fresh. These guys were exhausted. I exhausted him and refreshed these guys. So now, well, not the French guy, but there was another guy in that space at that point. I refreshed them because of his command capability. He can get everybody going again. Now he's going to be needing to be refreshed next turn, which takes one of your actions. You only have 5 actions per turn. So again, it's all about managing your actions and trying to get the most out of your troops, and at the same time keep the wolves at bay, which they just keep coming. Now there are some things you can do by not concentrating as much of your firepower on the purple, the red, but you got to pay attention to green because I don't generally tend to roll this low. I do roll high. You know, they get the oddball too, but I tend to roll more 7 to 12. So you're going to see some of that green, some of that black. And the yellow here, you can't suppress. This you have to kill as they come in down that track. And, you know, once they get up that black, they're already in the yellow. So now you can engage them. You can't suppress them there. You're going to have to take them out here. And similar to the greens here, like the higher greens, 12 and 11, they're going to be green here, and then they're going to be yellow. So you need to make sure you get some force over here, which I need to move guys over there. I've got too many over here. That was a mistake I made, but like I said, I was trying something different. It burned me, and I'm going to probably pay for it, but I can still try to save this afterwards. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick review of this game. It's a really simple, elegant design, a lot of fun, and if you like to manage the chaos of tactical combat without having to worry about all of the complex things that happen in other tactical systems, especially line of sight, which is handled in a very elegant way, you just match up colors. Like I was saying here before, these guys get into the yellow. Well, only guys in these yellow spots can actually take those guys out. Purple, only guys in purple, guys in red. That's your line of sight. Anybody who's in a split box like this or this, that means you can get red or green or red or purple. That's what you have line of sight to. You've got line of sight. This is your field of fire here. Your field of fire is there. So it's a really smart way of doing it, and it works fantastic. You also have some special skills, which I talked about. There's some other special abilities. There's tactics cards, and there's variants at the back of the rule book, which definitely increase the replay value. There's a lot of replay value in the base game itself, but it really increases the replay value considerably, and this is a game that I can see being on the table for a long time, for many years. So I give Castle Itter 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. This is a fantastic game, a lot of fun. DVG knocked it out of the park with the quality level on this, and David just has a really tight little elegant game here. It is just a lot of fun. You're going to keep coming back to it time and time again, and you can play with your kids too. It's not a super difficult game. You can work together with your children and teach them a little bit of history too at the same time. Non-wargamer people, you're going to easily pick this up. It has a Euro management feel to it. Wargamers are going to love it because it definitely feels like a war game. It's going to be much more abstract than you are used to if you're a tactical gamer, but it still has a very tactical feel to it because you got to look at the tactical picture. Even though you're just color code matching, it's still tactical, and you have to think ahead. Obviously, my thought process wasn't too good in this one, but you don't learn until you try different things, and I took a gamble and it blew up into my face, so I think I'm probably going to lose, and I'm going to have to reset and try again, but just chalk it up as another not so good result for Mo. But definitely, I would strongly recommend this game. If you have played Pavlov's House, you're going to enjoy this because it's a lot more streamlined. It's a lot faster. Pavlov's House is bigger because of that macro to micro operational, strategic, and tactical level. But Pavlov's House, if you've not played that and you like Castle Itter, go play Pavlov's House. Get yourself a copy of Pavlov's House. It is a fantastic game because you're dealing with the operational down to through the strategic and the tactical, and they all are interconnected. They all work together. You have to do things at each level to work together successfully, and that is really, really fun. And it's just a really challenging game and a lot of fun to play. So like I said, if you've not picked up a copy of Castle Itter, go do it. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up for me. You'll enjoy it and have a really good time by yourself or with a buddy of yours or with your kids. Definitely a lot of fun. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.